Hi. So for the interview, I decided to interview Ben, one of my friends who is also in a small group with me. For his preference, I did audio recording instead of video recording. And in this interview, I focused on the social loafing phenomenon that we learned in Unit 2. So I first asked him if he was in any small groups and whether he was aware of the term social loafing. Then I went on and briefly explained the definition to him since he didn't know, and I asked him if he had witnessed any signs of social loafing in any of his group. For this question, I expected him to say yes, since from the lessons we know that social loafing exists in almost every group. He also said that apart from witnessing social loafing symptoms, he had also been a social loafer himself. I then asked him about how social loafing has impacted his groups. He responded that there are times when people who contributed more to the groups feel like they are doing most of the group work, and that leads to conflicts as severe as groups dismissal. Next, I asked him about how his groups deal with social loafers. And in this case, Ben appeared to have a very specific way of dealing with social loafers, which was to talk it out. And he could be in both sides of the conversation. It means that he can intervene with the social loafer, or he can ask other people to intervene with him when he has when he starts social loafing. And lastly, for the interview, I asked him about the aspects that social loafing impact. So how it impacts the task at hand, and how it impacts the relationship between the group members. In the task aspect, he said that because he has not worked in a lot of big projects, and the workload for every project he has worked on so far can be handled individually or by two people, and therefore he personally does not feel like social loafing has too much effect on the task at hand. However, he strongly feels that social loafing has a big effect on the relationship between group members and the cohesion of the group. So he feels that the member who contribute more to the group will be likely to avoid working with the social loafers in the next group work. And they might not even stay friends with each other, and it will be, awkward to have a conversation after that. And that was basically my interview with Ben. And in this interview, I think Ben has done a great job talking about the reality of social loafing, especially in schoolwork settings, considering, he has not heard of the term social loafing before. He also mentioned that, there are a lot of social loafing in his groups, and he was a social loafer as well. And after hearing this answer, I think it aligns with our expectations of social loafing. It's because it exists in almost every group. His answer about the impact of social loafing was also touched on in the lecture, which is one of the common outcomes of social loafing: dissatisfaction with group members. When asked about how to deal with social loafers, his way of dealing with this problem was to talk it out, which is the equivalent of a private consultation or group discussion mentioned in the lecture. Ben also talked about the effect social loafing has on the task at hand, as well as the relationship between group members. So, for him personally in this situation, he does not see any lack of productivity in his group due to social loafers, and that is because he's in the group he is in does not have a lot of work to be contributed equally among group members. And again, the workload in his group can be single-handedly most of the time. However, he strongly believes that social loafing has a lot of impact on the relationship between group members, which again touch on the one of the common outcomes the of social loafing we talked about in class, which is the dissatisfaction with group members. So for Ben's case specifically, I think there are a few appropriate ways to prevent social loafings that I could, recommend him using for the next time. Um, there are three ways that I think is best suited to Ben's context. Establish individual accountability, manage discussion, and engage individual. So Ben needs to establish individual accountability because it creates a sense of responsibility for each member of the group. And when the group are self-aware of their responsibilities, they will more likely to contribute to the group instead of social loafing. He can also manage discussions and engage individuals as well to get everyone involved in the group work and to ensure that everyone follows the group's progress. To sum it up, I think Ben's situation somewhat represents most small groups in college. His way of handling with social offers is great, considering in college group members have equal status. So other ways of dealing with social offers do not make as much sense in this context. For example, reporting to superior. His emphasis on the social effect of social loafing on the relationship between group members was also accurate in my opinions. Group projects in college are made for the purpose of collaborating with other people, and social loafing kind of defeats the whole purpose. Therefore, I think it makes sense to say that in college group, social loafing has a great effect on the group cohesiveness.